Strength like no other, strength like no other, and it reaches to me. You are my strength, Lord, strength like no other, strength like no other, and it reaches to me. In the fullness of your grace, in the power of your name, you lift me up. You lift me up. In the fullness of your grace, in the power of your name, you lift me up. You lift me up. You are my joy, God. Joy like no other. Good morning, Marco. Joy like no other. Good morning, Harold. And it reaches to me. You are my joy, God. Joy like no other. Joy like no other. And it reaches to me. Come on, y'all. Let's get it together. In the fullness of your grace, in the power of your name, you lift me up. You lift me up. Hey, in the fullness of your grace, in the power of your name, you lift me up. Come on, reach up there and get it, y'all. You lift me up. Hey, you are my peace. Peace like no other. Peace like no other, God. And it reaches to me. Hey, you are my peace, God. Peace like no other. Peace like no other, God. And it reaches to me. Oh, God, it reaches to me. Good morning, everybody. And ha to the lay, to the loo, to the yeah. What another beautiful day it is to be alive. And God bless you all. And I bring you greetings today from beautiful Orlando, Florida. As it's about 80 degrees again today. It's beautiful down here. And I hope you all are having a wonderful day. And I stopped by this morning just to encourage you. I want to encourage you today. We're going to talk today about how to create your own economy. All right. I need you to bear with me because I have a lot of cold in my chest. Excuse me. I have a lot of cold in my chest from these changes of temperature. But I'm going to talk to you anyway. So if you can bear with me, then I'm going to teach you some things today that'll really be able to help change your life potentially. Let me say hello to some of you all. Good morning here on YouTube and on Facebook. Good morning to you all and LinkedIn, wherever you might be chiming in from. Good morning, Eddie. Good morning, Tyreek. How you doing, young man? Good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Deborah. And good morning, Lady Shay. And good morning, Marco. God bless all of you all. Good morning here to Sam. And good morning to Be Grateful. Good morning to Brother James. God bless you. Harold, I love you, brother. Good morning, Tanya. Good morning, Ravi, if that's correct. Good morning, Angela. And good morning, Selena. Good morning, Brother Keith. Miss you on Clubhouse, but I got to take care of my health, so we're not doing that this week because I got to get this cold up out of me. Okay? Chosen One, good morning. And good morning to all of you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Good morning, Brother Rob. You're singing Angel, and God bless you as well. And good morning. Good morning, Vic. I hope you're having a wonderful day as well. So let's talk about the subject today, and that's the subject of how to create your own economy. And the way I want to talk about it today is you create your own economy by learning how to sell. You see, people who know how to sell at high levels, we never have a money problem. We never have money issues. Why? Because it doesn't matter about what's going on with the economy because we create our own economies. Are you listening to me? When you create your own economy, you're never in a recession. You're recession proof. Why is that? Because the economy is not based on you working, exchanging your time for money. Are you digging what I'm saying? It, Brother Marco say drop all the dairy products. You're right. You're right about that, Brother Marco. Actually, I can't eat lactose anyway. I got that negroitis, lactose intolerant. Hey, good morning, Shantice. How you doing, daughter? Love you, baby. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope Joey's doing better too. You're right about that, Marco. You did right about that. I'm with you when you're right. So here's the idea this morning, and that's the idea of learning how to sell so that you can create your own economy. Your own economy. Are you listening to me? Don't run around here up under the pressure of trying to make money by the hour based on what somebody else is doing. And then your whole life is wrapped up, tied up, and tangled up in whether they make it or not. Are you listening to me? That means that you are just subjected. That's a very precarious position to be in. That's a very volatile way to live your life. Why don't you learn how to communicate at the kind of levels that pay you so much money until you couldn't be broke if you wanted to? You're not supposed to have just enough money for you. You're supposed to have enough money for everybody that's around you and everybody that's coming behind you. That's the whole idea. So I want to teach you today about how to communicate at the level where you'll be able to make so much money until it's your economy that you create. All right. In other words, when you sell things to people, especially you coaches and you all who are like advisors and things of that nature, when you sell things to people, if what you're selling them is really going to make them better off, then it's not really a sales presentation. It's really more so a posterity proposition. You say, what I mean by that, Brother Ricky? In other words, I'm just proposing to you what's going to create posterity for your life. And you say, Ricky, I don't even know what the definition of posterity is. Posterity means forever. That's what it means. And the reason you don't hear the word used much is because our school systems, so-called school systems, which are really child concentration camps, they don't focus on forever. They just focus on temporary stuff. So you live in a life that creates what I call the Band-Aid, the Band-Aid process. In other words, I'm not even used to really making it. I'm not used to having no real money, having no really good health, having no really good relationships. I'm not used to stuff really working out. I'm just used to having Band-Aids on my problems. So I just treat the symptoms of my problems, but I never treat what's really going on, what the real issues are. So because of that, that's why people end up broke, because the real problem with people is that they don't know how to communicate. So when you don't know how to communicate, you'll never have any money. You'll never have any real money until you learn how to communicate at the kind of levels where people gladly give you their money, because selling is not taking the money from people. You're not a stick-up artist. Selling is having something with the value is so great and people until they just give you the money. In fact, they insist that you take it. Let me show you what I mean. So the idea that there's something wrong with selling, first of all, is a demonic idea. It's not biblical. Selling is biblical. The idea there's something wrong with it, that's demonic. Let me read it to you. It's Proverbs 11:26. It said, whosoever withholdeth the corn, it said the people will curse. He said, but blessings will come upon the head of him that selleth the corn. In other words, everything that you ever bought, you bought it because you wanted it. You said, I bought it because I needed it. Yeah, you needed it and you wanted it. That's why you bought it. So this is just the facts about life, and everything that you need, somebody got to sell it to you in order for you to be able to live. So selling is not just a good idea, but it's survival. It's the only way that everybody survives. So it's not a question about whether or not we all need to learn how to sell and communicate. The question is about whether or not you know how to do it. And if you got a money problem, it's because you got a communication problem. All right. You're saying, Ricky, I'm a great salesperson, just ain't nobody buying my stuff. No, you are delusional. That's what you are. Because if ain't nobody buying your stuff, that means that you are not a good salesperson. That means that you got to learn how to communicate with people. So first of all, let me tell you what selling. First of all, let's go back to the fact that selling is a good thing. And the fact that whosoever withholdeth the corn, the people will curse. But whosoever selleth the corn, the blessing of God will be on that person's head. So what's proof of that? Let's go back to the book of Genesis and let's talk about Joseph. So Joseph tells Pharaoh all about his dream. So Pharaoh's like, hey, man, I want you to be the governor of Egypt. I want you to run things, okay, because you're smart, you're an intelligent man. So Joseph is like, cool. So God blessed Egypt so much until you couldn't count the corn. It's so much corn you couldn't even count it. Are you listening to me? Now, what would have happened if when the people came to Egypt for corn, Joseph would have told them, I'm not selling you nothing? What would have happened? What would have happened? And these people are starving. It's a famine in the land. And people coming to you with their money because their money don't even mean nothing when what you got is worth more than the money. So let me just help you. You say, Ricky, why am I having such a hard time selling? I say, well, I want to ask you this question. Do people want what you're selling? And you say, well, Brother Ricky, this is my passion. This is what I want to do. I say, that's not the question I asked you. The question I asked you is, do people want what you're selling? Because if they don't want what you're selling, I got a question for you. Why are you selling that? The people wasn't coming to Joseph they money meant nothing to them because they were starving. Are you listening to me? Don't sell stuff that people don't want. Because Joseph, everybody wanted the corn. Now, what would have happened if they got there and then Joseph had been like, man, I'm not selling you no corn. You can starve to death. You know what would have happened? It would have been mutiny on a bounty, baby. Because when people are hungry and when people are desperate and when people really in need of something, they'll kill you to get it. Are you listening to me? This man, he didn't have no choice but to sell that corn. First of all, Joseph was a righteous brother, so he wasn't going to hold out. He was going to make sure that he took care of the people. But the people were so willing to give him money until they was just throwing the money at him when they came. Why? Because they were going to starve to death if he didn't sell them something. The Bible said, whosoever withholdeth the corn, the people shall curse. But whosoever selleth the corn, then it's going to be great blessings upon the head of that person. Good morning, Arthur. How you doing, my brother? So this idea of you not learning how to sell is ridiculous because that's how you get rich. You get rich selling, and you don't get rich no other kind of way. You say, Ricky, that's not true. It is true. You get rich selling because you have to communicate with people to get rich. You can't run up and be in a witness protection program and go off someplace and get rich without selling. Now, you might not be the person that's doing a direct selling. You might hire somebody to do that. Okay. Because sometimes that's not even your best strength. And that's okay. Because getting rich means that you swallow your pride. Getting wealthy means you swallow your pride and you do what's in your own best interest to get ahead. So you're like, man, I'm really bad at communicating with people. So I want to take some more classes on that, Brother Rick. And for example, this Thursday night, we have the second week of our real estate class that I'm teaching my inner circle. Good morning, Tom. How you doing? I'm teaching my inner circle this real estate class. And if you guys want to come, it's $997. And this is it's Thursday night and it's for the next 5 weeks. So if you want to come, it's $997. So he said, Ricky, I don't have $997. I said, well, you must be a really bad salesperson. All right. If anybody need to be in class, it's you. You ain't got $997 and you're a grown man or you're a grown woman. I mean, you ain't no crackhead or nothing. You dig what I'm saying? And you've been at working for 5, 10, 15, 20 years and you ain't got $997. That shows you right there how bad you need to learn how to sell, because salespeople, we make $997 in a second, and in our sleep without even waking up. Why? Because the stuff is selling itself, whatever it is that we're selling. So what's my point? Brother Tom, yeah, we have replays of the classes too, Brother Tom. They're not in person. They all online. I don't have no in-person classes, Brother Tom. They all online. All right. So it's a link. If you want the link, just send me a direct message to Rick the Wealth Coach on Instagram. Just send me a direct message and say, I like the link because I like to come. And this is the last week if y'all want to come too, because it's a 5-week class. We're not going to have people coming in after this week. So let me tell you something about selling. Just be real good at whatever it is that you're doing. And then they will ask you, can they buy your stuff? Don't try to solicit nobody to do anything, because that's not what selling is. So Joseph, he has this corn, and what's that, Anthony? Yeah, God bless you, brother. God bless you. You say, how do you sell healing, Anthony? Well, you sell the benefits. What selling is letting people know 2 things. Number 1, this is what I'm doing, and this is all the people that's benefited from it. Then number 2, this is probably what's going to happen to you if you ignore what I'm telling you. All right. So Anthony, if I was talking to people about health, I would just let them know, listen, there are some things that you need to do so that you can stay alive. And now, if you're not interested in staying alive, that's up to you. But here are the things I would do if I was you and I want to stay alive, and it works for me, and it's worked for a whole bunch of other people. So an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. So if I was selling health products, Anthony, I would talk to people about the fact that an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. For example, I have a health, Anthony, it's a good point you bring up because I have a trainer called Dr. Glenda Davis. And Dr. Davis, we're paying her for all of these preventative measures about getting sick. So we have some meetings coming up. She takes our blood, Shantae and I, my daughter Shantice, my brother Larry. We all signed up for a program. And you said, Brother Ricky, how much does the program work? Her name is Dr. Glenda Davis. If you want to learn who she is, then you send me a message and I give you her information. What's my point though? My point is I don't care what a program costs. Well, not what I got to pay, because what I'm paying is to make sure that I stay alive and healthy so I can help you all. I can't help you all dead and I can't help you sick. So whatever her price is, it doesn't matter. She's so cold-blooded. She done reverse cancer on a few people. She does biohacking and all of that. So when she sat down at the table with me, I was having dinner with her and Myron Golden in Tampa Bay. And when Dr. Glenda sat down and started talking, she was so wise, and she was a natural doctor and a medical doctor. But she knows that most of the time people just treat your symptoms, and it's just a Band-Aid on your problems. So she didn't have to sell me anything. She just sat there and talked with her wisdom, Brother Anthony. And her wisdom showed me that this woman knows how to help keep me alive and healthy and vibrant. And I'm going to pay her whatever it is. I made up my mind right while she was sitting there. I didn't know what a program cost. It didn't matter. Why? Because it's more important to be alive and healthy than anything else. So Anthony, that's what I would do if I was you. If I was talking about people, if I was selling the idea of health, because in healing and all of that, then I would let a person know that these are the people I've helped. And Brother Anthony, another thing I would do if I was you is if you've helped somebody, I would let them speak on your behalf. I mean, if you go to my YouTube channel, I've got dozens and dozens of people I'd help make a lot of money all over the world. So I don't really try to solicit nobody and try to get them to do anything. I say, if you want to know what's going on, just go over to YouTube and watch some of the videos, and people will tell you how much money they've made. When we do our real estate class here coming up in 2 days, the young man that's doing the class with me, we've done several deals in real estate, made a whole lot of money together. So his name is Wes. And so he's helping to train the class. Why? Because he's like a son to me, and I'm teaching him how to sell. I'm teaching him how to teach people what to do. In fact, Thursday when we have our class, the class is going to be on how to teaching you how to talk to people who are buying or selling their properties. That's what we're going to be talking about. So that's a good point, brother Marco. Marco says that Tesla doesn't advertise. You don't have to advertise when you're good. Just be good, and then people will show up and teach people things for free that don't cost nothing, and don't solicit them. I'm just telling y'all about the class because in 2 days the class will be up. That's why it's really a private class, but I'm just telling y'all about it. So if y'all want to learn real estate, the way we bought all these properties around the world and made all this money, if you want to learn how to do it for $997 little measly dollars, then we'd be glad to have you. All right, because people put the emphasis on money, and I'm like, you got the emphasis on money. That's why you ain't got no money. All right. You need to put the emphasis on skills so you can learn a skill set that produces money so that you can create your own economy. Because if you got a money problem, you got a skill set problem. So learn how to get a skill set that produces money. And one skill set that you can't get around is you got to learn how to communicate. So here's Joseph, and Joseph has all this corn, and the people are coming to him to buy corn. Why? Because their money is worthless without the corn. It's worth less in their pocket than it is in Joseph's pocket. Are you listening to me? If you're taking notes, write it down. People do business with you and they buy stuff from you because their money in their pocket is worth less than if they put it in your pocket. Worth less. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Worthless. The money is worthless in my pocket compared to if I gave it to you, Brother Marco, if I gave it to you, Anthony, or if I gave it to you, Sagittarius. So if I gave it to any of you all who the money has more value with you than it has with me, then I want to hurry up and depart with this worthless money. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? I don't want to have money in my pocket that's worth less today than it was yesterday. So that's why we circulate a lot of money. That's what wealthy people do. All we do is wake up in the morning trying to figure out, well, me and Shantae, the first thing we do is try to figure out who we're going to give something to every day. And then the second thing we do is figure out how do we need to circulate some money so to make some more money, because it's worthless just sitting still. Are you listening to me? So people who buy things, they buy things because they want to. So let me tell you what selling is not, and then we get back to what selling is. What selling is not you trying to convince somebody to do something against their own will for your own purposes. All right, let me run that by you one more time. Selling is not you trying to convince somebody to do something against their will for your own purposes. You say, what do you mean by that, Brother Ricky? What I'm saying is that that's what bad salespeople do. That's why you have this idea that selling is like sneaky or manipulative, because you've probably had a bad experience with somebody who was trying to gangster you into doing something. Now, you dig what I'm saying? They was thirsty and they was trying to get you to do something. Why? Because they thirsty. But why are people thirsty? They thirsty because they bad salespeople. Why are they bad salespeople? They bad salespeople because they don't even know what selling is. They ain't never been trained. Don't you assume that you understand how to communicate with people. You need to be trained to communicate with people. You ought to be taking classes to say, you know what? My communication skills are jacked. All right. And especially you younger people, because y'all grew up on these computers and stuff, and you haven't had personal conversations with people. And all you're doing is texting and emailing and texting and emailing, and you don't know how to talk to a human being. All right. You need to be trained how to do that. People of my age, 60, 50, 60 and stuff, we've been talking to people face to face for years. So we understand the dynamics of communicating with each other. And, I still can't even type. I write all my books and stuff with an ink pen. And then I have it typed for me, let Shantae type it or something like that. Cause I don't want to be bothered with that. It take up my whole day. Cause I still write with an ink pen. That's how much pomp and circumstance I believe in. But I sell at a very high level all over the world. And I don't solicit nobody to do anything. Are you digging what I'm saying? I don't solicit anybody to do anything under any circumstances. All I do is just provide information for people. And if they want to do it, I say, okay, if that makes sense to you, then good. If it don't make sense to you, then that's up to you. All right. And then I just go ahead on about my day. You say, well, Ricky, that sounds awful laid back. How can you make money like that? Because top-notch salespeople around the world, we are laid back. We're not desperate. We're not frantic. I told y'all about the movie King's Ransom and how this young white boy, he gets fired from being a hot dog dude at the hot dog stand. So he's desperate. So he goes into the place to pawn his stuff. And the Chinese lady behind the counter, she said, how can I help you? He said, well, how much for all of this? So the Chinese lady said, I give you $200. So he said, $200? He said, come on, I'm desperate here. If y'all ever saw King's Ransom, this is funny as heck. Y'all should all just Google this scene, the hot dog dude scene in the pawn shop. And this will really show you how bad it is when you're desperate. And he said $200 for all this. He said, I'm desperate here. So the girl said, she said, oh, you're desperate, huh? He said, yeah. She said, $100. She went down on the price. Are you digging what I'm saying? She said $100. Don't make me laugh because I got all this cold on my chest. He said, Ricky, don't make you laugh. You're making yourself laugh because it's funny. It's really funny when you see desperados running around trying to sell stuff. I'm like, you are a bad salesperson. You are a really bad salesperson. I mean, ain't nobody buying nothing from you. You too doggone desperate. People can smell that stuff when you walk up. When you walk up to a person and you're thirsty like that, it just reeks out your pores. You have a thirsty odor. The person can smell that. They like, man, you want something. You trying to just get me to buy something just because you want me to buy it. It ain't even no real reason for me to buy your stuff. You just want me to buy it just because you showed up. Don't nobody owe you nothing. All right. Y'all heard that movie. Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. We can't take that attitude or that approach towards life. It's extremely smug and it doesn't work. It's ineffective. And you can't create your own economy because your sales skills are bad. And you're desperate. When you're desperate, everybody knows. They step on you, walk on you. Your self-esteem ain't worth nothing. And your bank account. Are you digging what I'm saying? And your bank account is jacked up. All right. Are you digging what I'm saying? Yeah. That's why, yes, my Instagram, yeah, brother. It's all you guys too, by the way. When you see somebody talking about cryptocurrency and stuff, that's not me. Everybody make up fake pages on Instagram. Why? So they can take advantage of the person that worked real hard to help people, and then they just show up in a few minutes and rob y'all and take y'all money because y'all deal with that. So thank you, Swazi, and all of you all listening to me. Don't buy nothing from nobody that say they me, because they're not me. All right, because I don't solicit people. All right, so if somebody's soliciting you, it's not me. All right, unless you heard me live talking about a class or something that we're doing. But outside of that, I would never send you no message telling you to send me no money. I ain't no pimp. Okay, that's a pimp who would send you a message over Instagram message and tell you to send them some money. That's a pimp. All right, that's a hustler. Okay, that's a desperado. That's a sneaky, manipulative, low down dog. All right, so don't mess around with them cats. They some bums. All right, what they do is that they ride. Look at everybody that's got any type of little following. I ain't got no big following on Instagram, but it don't take much. As soon as you get a handful of people, you got some thirsty mogs who don't want to do no real work, because you got two type of people in the world. You got takers and you got You got makers. So makers, we make things happen. And you got the takers who come along and want to stick you up. And the stick up man, they've been around a long time. You dig what I'm saying? They just wait for you to make all the money. And then they pull their pistol out and stick you up. That ain't nothing new. That's what these cats are who make these fake pages and stuff. They ain't nothing but stick up artists. And some of my clients have called me and told me, hey, Brother Ricky, I sent you some money. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're like, I sent you some money for some Bitcoin. I'm like, you ain't send me no money for no Bitcoin. I'm like, what are you talking about? They say, oh yeah, that wasn't you. I'm like, don't you know me? I mean, ain't you been around me enough to know that I don't play with people like that? All right, I don't trick nobody out of nothing. All right. So, some people have made mistakes like that. So yeah, it's not my page, but I don't know what they're doing, Doc. But bottom line is that if you get some fake messages about Bitcoin, then it's not me. So just understand that, okay? So people hack stuff and all that kind of stuff all the time. So we'll work with it and have the social media people work with that to try to get rid of them and all of that. But in the meantime, I'm going to help you all every day that I feel well. I'm going to come on here and help you all. And I'm just telling you publicly now, don't buy nothing from no fake dudes talking about they Ricky, because they're not Ricky. All right, so Joseph, he has this corn and he's selling his corn. And what I want you to know is that Joseph ain't trying to persuade nobody to buy no corn. Everybody coming to buy some corn because they want to buy it. And you don't have to try to convince people to do things against their will because that's phony, and you don't have to live no fake life. Just make sure you're selling something that people want. So that's what selling is not. It's not trying to convince somebody against their will to do what it is that you want them to do. That stuff is played out. That stuff about answering answering all of the objections and all of that stuff it's a battle. It's like pulling teeth. And as a professional salesperson, you are not a dentist. Okay, you don't pull people's teeth. All right. If you was going to be a dentist, then you pull people's teeth, but you're not a dentist. So you have to treat yourself better than that desperate position that you take when you're talking to people about money. Why? Don't idolize money. When you start idolizing money, then when you meet people, then you can tell that you're looking at me, but what you're really looking at me like I'm a cash register. That's the way desperado salespeople are. When you look at a person, they can feel that, ching, ching. And that's why the presentation be so messed up. I done had people talking to me, trying to sell me stuff, and they don't even know what they own product about. I'm like, how long you been selling that stuff? I had a young man who was doing an internship with me. So he's sitting in my house when I used to train people in person. So he's sitting in my house and he's doing an internship with me about real estate this particular time. And so he just bust out in the middle of the conversation. Hey, Rick. I was like, what's going on? I don't even remember his name now. So you can make yourself insignificant. All right. I was teaching this young man for free, as an intern. And so he just stops in the middle of the conversation and says, hey, Rick, I just like to talk to you about something. I'm like, well, this probably ain't the right time to be talking about something. Baby, you're on a camera, in case people can see you on the camera. Yeah, all right. You walking right by the camera. So, what'd you say, Swazi? You said they almost got you, huh? Well, I'm glad you didn't do it, brother. Hey, God bless you. I love you, man. I hate to see you spend one penny of your money, your hard-earned money, with some manipulating thieves. I hate to see you do that. So this young fella sitting at my table, and he says, hey, Rick, I was just wondering, if I could, if we could do a deal together. I'm like, what do I say? First of all, this is not a meeting about me and you doing deals. This is a meeting about you learning what you ought to be learning. So just because we're taking a little 5-minute break, don't mean that you can start trying to sell me something. I said, but go ahead. Anyway, go ahead. So he says, well, my company, Rick, I say, yeah, your company that you've been in business with for 4 years, right? He's like, yeah, my company. We were on, if we had a cash infusion of about $30,000, Rick, I believe the company could thrive. I said, your company that you told me about, right? He said, yeah. I said, your broke company that you told me about, right? He's like, yeah. Well, you got to put it like that. I said, yeah, I got to put it like that because your company broke. I said, so 4 years you ain't made no money, right? He's like, I said, and you ain't even got no money in the company because you ain't got no money, right? He's like, well, no. I said, so you want me to put my hard-earned money into your company that you ain't even got no money in? I said, what kind of weed are you smoking, Doc? I said, I can't believe that you would even let that kind of stuff come about your mouth like you're talking to some type of trick or something. You dig what I'm saying? You at my house, I'm trying to teach you how to do real estate and all of that, and you just bust out with all this nonsense. I say, man, you need to check yourself. You need to be careful about what comes out your mouth, because I'm not going to put a penny into your broke company for 4 years. Evidently, it don't work. Whatever you're doing don't work. You need to switch selling whatever it is you're selling, because ain't nobody buying your stuff. All right? And that's a problem with a lot of people. A lot of people are very defensive when you tell them, I'm a wealth coach. So I coach people into making millions of dollars. I don't coach people into doing the same stuff you was doing when I met you. The whole point of you meeting somebody who understands what you don't understand is so that you can take some advice and start doing what you're supposed to be doing. Don't start doing what you've been doing. Listen, every time you come in, you meet a coach and they start teaching you, they have to teach you what's counterintuitive to you. You say, what do you mean counterintuitive, Rick? I mean, it can't make no sense to you. Why? Because everything that you've been doing, it makes sense. It don't work. Excuse me. So if it ain't been working, then that means that you need to change. So I don't go and have a person train me and teach me, and then they start acting like I know more than what they know. I'm like, well, you know what? That's why I came to you. I came to you because you know more than what I know. So I'm openly going to let you train me and teach me so that I can do better than what I'm doing, so I can get rich. All right. I don't have no pride about getting rich. I have zero pride about that. Okay. But I'm like, you know more than I know. I'm gonna dump the stuff I'm doing, and I'm gonna do what you said. Okay. So that's part of being a salesperson. You can be a really good salesperson if you learn how to first allow somebody to sell you. Are you listening to me? You have to allow people to sell you, because your trainer and your teachers and your coaches, they are selling you. They are giving you posterity propositions. So write that down so you can stop looking at the next time somebody start selling you something or suggesting something to you. You stop looking at it like somebody is trying to stick you up. You stop looking at it like somebody trying to get your money, because all money is little money. You know how little the money is? When you die, you're going to leave every penny of it. That's why I tell people that. You know, the people I train around the world, they say, Rick, you say that all the time. You say that all money is little money, because it is. Your perspective about money is what's messed up. All right. Because you got an unrealistic view of money. You're not going to take a dollar with you. Naked was I when I came into the world, Brother Paul said. He said, when I'm dying, I'm going to go back naked. He said, I'm going to be naked was I when I came in this world. I'm going to leave out of here naked. So since I can't take no money with me, then the proof of the fact is that money is extremely, it ain't no such thing as big money. So if you take money out of the equation when you selling and when you're buying, then you take a whole different attitude about buying and selling. And then that way you won't be a slave to money, because the reason you ain't got no money is because you're a slave to money. Are you digging what I'm saying? So selling is not, that's what it's not. It's not trying to convince somebody to do something against their own will for your purposes. That's what it's not. All right. And you saw how desperate the dude was when he came in there trying to pawn and stuff. So let's talk about what selling is then. So selling is persuading people to do what they already want to do. What? For their own reasons. All right. So if I was taking notes, I'd write it down. That's what selling is. So you talk to the person, they already want to do it. They came to you. Why? Because they wanted to do what it is you're talking about already. So that means we're not going to have a long drawn out conversation. I'm just going to ask you if you want me to help you. And if the person wants some help, you say, okay, so these are things I would do if I was you. So you say, Brother Rick, you got a silver tongue. You're a good salesperson. Let me explain something to you about selling. I'm training you now. In other words, I'm teaching you right now. So I teach people pretty much 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days. I've been doing it for years. For you all who just meeting me, I've been doing this for years. I don't know, maybe 4 years in a row. I can't even keep the time up, because I love to teach people. That's my calling. That's what I get out of bed for, to teach you. That's why they call me a coach, because I coach people. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I'm just teaching you what's going on about life and about money and how to get wealthy. Now, some of you all might decide you want to be clients, and that you want to be customers. Okay, so that means you have to come through a financial IQ challenge so you can learn what we do. You say, well, Ricky, I don't want to do that. You know, I've already heard enough, bro. Just tell me. I say, well, that's not how we operate. See, I'm not a desperate person. Are you listening to me? I'm not a desperate person. So because I'm not a desperate person, when people try to meet me and say, hey, I want to do things this way, I'm like, you're not going to change my culture, brother. You're not going to change my culture, sister. I got a wife, okay? I got kids and grandkids, okay? We got a life. We can't spend all night and day working. We can't spend all night and day trying to sell you something and spend all night and day in front of people and all that sort. No, 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 no. You're not gonna kill me. You're not gonna kill her. All right. And we're gonna see our kids and we're gonna live our days out as many days as the Lord gives us. We're gonna live those days out. So you say, so Ricky, what do I do if I want to learn more about what you're doing? MyFinancialIQChallenge.com. MyFinancialIQChallenge.com. Go over there and sign up, and then you come to class because that's the only way you're going to learn. You say, I want a personal appointment, Ricky. Okay, well, that's $40,000 for a personal appointment for 1 hour. So if you want a personal appointment, that's okay. If you want to pay $40,000 an hour, send me a message, and I have an appointment with you because I don't even want it. Are you listening to me? You're like, Ricky, you don't want no appointment for $40,000 an hour? I don't need no money. No, I don't want no appointments for $40,000 an hour. But if your situation is such that you got to make some moves and you want to circumvent coming to the Financial IQ Challenge, then that's the price you have to pay. All right. And if you talk to me for an hour about whatever you're talking about, you're going to make way more than $40,000. All right. If you're doing something that's, that's about something. Are you digging what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you all is that just be good at what you do and have what everybody wants. Listen, we say, for example, what we do tax-free, tax credit producing trust. Very few people in the world know how to create a tax-free, tax credit producing trust. Very few people know how to open you up a trust so that when you go into the bank and you make a deposit in the bank got to give you back multiples of the money you put in. All right. Very few people know how to do that. And then almost nobody will train you for a whole year on how to use it. Almost nobody does that. So I already know. I only do things that are what? In extremely high demand. Why? Because I don't like wasting time. I don't like wasting my time, and I don't like wasting people's time. So I don't do what everybody else is doing. That's part of what y'all problem is. That's why you have this desperation in what it is that you're selling. I'm like, why do you sell that? Why don't you just stop doing that? And why don't you do something that gives you, puts you in a blue ocean where people really want what it is that you have because it's going to really benefit them. All right. Sell stuff that's going to really benefit somebody so that they'll come to you because they want the benefit of what you're selling. Are you listening to me? Joseph, I'm telling you again, Joseph and Brother Marco, that's a great point you made if you're still here when he talked about Tesla doesn't advertise. Joseph, the Prince of Egypt, was not advertising. All he was doing was, soon as they found out that Joseph had some corn and everybody's starving, they knocked the walls down. I mean, his own family ended up coming to him. Are you listening to me? His own family ended up showing up to buy some corn. Next thing you know, they moved to Egypt and everything. He relocated his whole family from Canaan land to Egypt. Why? Because the man had what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted. Do you have what everybody wants? Okay. Well, if that's not the case, change. What's wrong with changing? Okay. What's wrong with just saying, hey, you know what? I'm tired of this desperate selling, and I'm tired of people playing me off. I want some money. I want to make some money. All right. I want to be around my family. I don't want to be working all night and all day. What can I do, Brother Rick, that people will buy? That, well, you got to make that up, decide that for yourself. People that work with me, they make a lot of money because very few people know how to do what we do. So if you want to learn what we're doing, come through the Financial IQ Challenge. And not only can you learn how to create how to get a trust that'll make you rich, but also you can learn how to market things that'll make you rich. All right. So that's what I do. So what selling is persuading people to do what they already want to do for their own reasons. That's it. You want to know what selling is? Persuading people to do what they already want to do for their own reasons and nothing else. So in other words, you already want to do it. So you come and meet the person, and then the person, let me give you an example. I was selling a house to this guy named Jason. And so I hadn't went to the house, and you probably heard me say this before, but listen to it from this perspective. I had never been inside the house because I buy and sell houses from off of software called PropStream. So in case you guys don't know what that is, PropStream, that's a software. So we locate all these houses around the United States, and then we buy from people that don't nobody even know selling and all that. So we don't have no whole bunch of competition because don't nobody hardly know what's going on. So by the way, Thursday, that's what we're going to be teaching people again about how we buy these houses and sell them. And if you want to come to our class, it's $997. And if you think that's a lot of money, you really need to be there. And it's Thursday night at 6:30 this Thursday. And it's the last Thursday that you can sign up because it's only going to be for 5 weeks. And And I'm going to be personally training Thursday on how to talk to people who are selling houses and how to talk to people that are buying houses. For the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be teaching people basically a multi-million-dollar class. So you can learn how to really talk to folk and get them to do things with you without you trying to convince them to do anything. They want to do it with you more than you want to sell it to them. So, so this idea of selling is persuading people to do what they already want to do. So when I was in the house, I was selling this house for a certain price to this guy named Jason. So Jason, rich, he got plenty of money and all that. He can buy all the houses I want to sell. And at that time, I was like one-on-one with people more. So Jason, I said, man, I know I didn't come inside of this house, Jason. I didn't know it was like it is. It had all this wood. It was all, man, it was a cold crib. But I had never been in it because I don't typically go inside no house. So Jason looked at me. He thinking, man, he finna change the price on me. He about to change the price. I think I told him like $65,000 or something, but I could sell it for at least 90,000. But I hadn't been inside, so I didn't know. So he was looking at me. He was like, Rick, I said, hey man, you gotta look at me like that. I said, you thinking I'm gonna change the price? I said, I'm not about to do that. Why? Because I'm not desperate for no money. I ain't no crackhead. I don't get high. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't get high. You dig? I go to bed at 8 o'clock at night in my own bed. You dig what I'm saying? So I ain't got no money problems. I said, so, and it wouldn't be right to change the price. So I'm not going to change it because that'd be stealing. Okay. Because I'm not desperate over money. I don't worship money like that. I said, so, Anthony, it's not, if you want, it's a private link, Anthony. So if you want it, go to Rick the Wealth Coach on Instagram. Hopefully you can find the one that's really me. Go to Rick the Wealth Coach on Instagram and just send a direct message and say, Ricky, I'd like to come to your class, Brother Rick, Thursday night. And then we'll send you the link, okay? Because you can't, it's not, it's a private class. So so it's not just out. And we're only going to take a few more people too. So if a few of you guys decide you're going to sign up today, we might take about another 5 people, maybe something like that. So if you decide you want to come, we'd be glad to have you. So I'm in this house with this brother, and I'm like, no, man, the price is going to be the same thing. And I said, all you got to do is just call me within the next 2 hours. And if you call me within the next 2 hours, I'll still sell the house to you. I won't sell it to nobody else. Okay. Because I told you a price, bro. And I'm just going to stick with it because it's just the right thing to do. So, he called me, right? I didn't have to persuade Jason to call me because he already wanted to call me. Why? Because he wanted the house. Are y'all listening to me? I didn't have to convince him to call me. He called me because he wanted the house more than I wanted to sell him the house, to sell him the house. And if you selling things and people want to, and you want to sell it to the person more than the person wants to buy it from you, you're selling the wrong thing, or you're a bad salesperson. All right. One of 2 things, because when you are good at communicating and you got the right thing that you're selling, then that's an amazing combination. That creates what? Posterity. So what I'm giving you all is a posterity proposition today. What's that? I'm suggesting to you to create your own economy. All right. I'm not talking about come and do what we do. You might not be interested in that stuff. I'm just talking about period. Whatever it is that you're doing, make sure that the person wants it more than you want to sell it. Are you listening to me? Be a blazer. Oh, congratulations. You said you signed up for the challenge. Congratulations. We'd be glad to have you. So just make sure whatever you're doing, the person want it more than you want to sell it. And then don't you see how cool that is? Do you see how that takes like all of the high blood pressure out of the way that you approach people? You don't like being approached like that. So why in the world would you do the same thing to somebody that you don't appreciate? Why would you try to hem somebody up in a corner and start using all these little fake sales techniques and all that sort of a thing? So that's where I was going. Selling, when you're selling, you don't even talk much. Are you listening to me? If you're a really good salesperson, you don't talk much. You say, well, why is that, Brother Ricky? Why? Because the Bible says a fool is known by his multitude of words. So why open up your mouth and remove all doubt? You say, what do you mean by that, Brother Rick? What I'm saying is that all of that talking and stuff is pushing the person away from you. It's not, good morning to you as well, my friend. It's my world econ. God bless you. So selling, when you do a lot of talking in the middle of a sales presentation, is 2 things that's going on that's really bad about that. We got about 10 minutes and I got to get out of here. There's 2 things that's really bad about that. The first thing is that you're not learning anything because you're the one that's doing all the talking. So that means you're not learning much. To go into a room unlearned and leave out of a room unlearned is a meeting or a total waste of time. But because you haven't been trained in selling, you're thinking that if the more I talk, the more I'll be able to persuade this person into seeing my point of view and then coerce them into doing what it is that I'm trying to get them to do. And I'm telling you that that does not work. You already know it don't work because it don't work on you. Are you listening to me? And if you're taking notes, write this down. When it comes down to selling, people, they run away from what comes at them, and people follows what moves away from them. This is human nature. All right. What you say? What do you mean by that, Ricky? If you run up on me with your dukes up, I'm gonna put my dukes up. Why? It's just common. It's just instincts. It's just survival. If you come at me all hard and all desperate and frantic and stuff like that, then you're gonna make me put my dukes up. I'm like, man, what do you want? I gotta protect myself. That's human nature. All of us feel that way. But if you come to me and then you suggest something to me and then you walk away from me, then you'll make me want to follow you. Listen, I'm teaching y'all. This is how you get rich. All right. I'm telling you how I've done my amazing deals, worldwide deals, how I've been able to have worldwide influence on people. It's because even though I used to be broke and had $50 in a hotel room, I was still not a desperate person. You know, I was like, I don't have no money right now, but I'm certainly going to treat people good as I can possibly treat people and be a blessing to people. And then I have some money. I ain't worried about that. God own all the houses, all the land, he own everything. I ain't worried about that. I'm just going to follow the principles that's going to make me rich. And one of the principles that make you rich is that you got to learn how to communicate. And that communication is not you doing all the talking. Communication is that you discover things and you discover some more, and then you discover some more. That's what communication is about. It's about discovery. What you need to take with you every day is your discover card and say, you know what, let me discover something that I didn't understand before I started having this conversation with this person. So now after I discover what it is that I need to know, now I can learn how to serve the person. Because you can't serve nobody and you're doing all the talking. It's such a fickle way to live. It's such a broke way to live. It is not profitable. It doesn't produce money. It produces anxiety, heartache, bills piling up, frustration, high blood pressure, all of that. Why? Because that's the way desperados live. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? The way that desperados live is that they can't sell nothing to nobody, so they ain't got no money. So they always talking about, I need this and I need that. I need this and I need that. I say, you're going to die needy, okay, until you change that attitude. You got to humble yourself up under the mighty hand of God that he might exalt you in due time. So what is humility? Humility is the ability to be able to sit down and listen to somebody else. All right. Listen to somebody else. I don't talk during my sales presentations. If I'm having a meeting with somebody, in a one-on-one meeting with somebody after they've been through my challenge and now we're helping them do this and helping them do that. When we're having a meeting, it's all about discovery with me. All I do is ask questions. That's it. And then they tell me what it is that's going on with them. And I say, so, okay, if it was me and I was you, this is what I would do. And then I totally leave it up to the person to do what they want to do. Why? Because I don't like being around reluctant people. I don't like being around people who don't even want to do what's in their own best interest. So I just leave them alone. I say, if you don't want to do what's in your own best interest, that's up to you. Okay? Because I'm not going to try to persuade you and try to convince you against your will to do what's in your own best interest. All right. Are you listening to me? I just wave at me through the phone. Are you going to change the way that you approach people today? Are you going to change your communication style today? The Bible says, be swift to hear and be slow to speak and be slow to wrath, because the wrath of man that don't work the righteousness of God. In other words, be wise and get rich. Listen, 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 and then listen some more, and then listen some more, and then listen some more, and then listen some more. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. But with all you're getting an understanding. Proverbs 4:7. Get an understanding. In other words, make that the whole point of why you're having a conversation with somebody, is to understand them and where they're coming from. And then you won't be giving these frivolous, fruitless presentations that don't make no money. You don't have a money issue. You have a communication issue. Okay. And if you don't know how to communicate, learn, get trained. Okay. Take this video and go back over it again. You can learn a lot just listening to this. Listen to this maybe 3-4 times and take some notes. And then train your people who you're doing business with and say, listen, we got a problem around here. We talk too much. Okay. We don't even know what the issue is with the client. We don't even know what the problem is that the client has. We don't even understand how to serve the customer. Why? Because we're doing all the talking. We doing all the customer ain't doing no talking. We dominating the conversation, the talking part of the communication. So that means that you're not dominating the actual communication. So people up under the delusion that because they doing all the talking, that they dominate. I'm like, no, you ain't. You're doing all the talking. That means that all you're doing is exposing yourself more and more and more because people learn a whole lot more about you, but you ain't learning nothing about them. And I was sitting in a room in Atlanta. We were having some lunch. A wonderful young lady named Tina I met down there, just a beautiful person. And some kind of way she got us into this nice restaurant where everybody else had a 2-hour waiting list, and they just let her straight in because she had such a remarkable spirit. Her attitude was so good. So we sat down and we're having a great conversation. So this young lady comes in, and I don't even remember what kind of business she had, and she talked for 45 minutes at least straight. It was so obnoxious because I'm like, why these young? She's sitting here with all these entrepreneurs and stuff, and she could have learned a lot from us. And she had a company, I guess, that did a little money, $1 million or something, which ain't no money, because all money is little money. Because just because you make some money don't mean you can be rude. Just because you make some money don't mean you can be ignorant. Just because you make some money don't mean the world revolve around you. Just because you done made a little money don't mean you're nobody. You know, when you step into people's quarters and everything, always, always want to listen more than you talk, especially when you get around some ballers and some shot callers who got some sense. Why? Because you can learn so much. You can come into a lunch meeting and learn what it would have took you 10 years to learn in school, from a 40-minute conversation, from all that wisdom that you could have learned if you were listening and weren't talking. And I'm amazed at how people love to talk. And you know why I make so much money? Because I don't talk much. I don't talk. You say, Rick, you're talking a lot. You've been teaching us for an hour. It's a class. I'm teaching you. That's different. That's what I do. I teach people an hour a day. You can tune in for as much of it as you want to, because once I'm through talking to people for an hour a day, I'm not talking much. All right. I'm just enjoying the rest of my day, handling the structure of business or whatever it is that I need to do. And if I got some appointments with somebody, I'm just listening to them. Let me tell you something. The easiest way in the world to get a person to be able to help somebody and actually sell them something that they actually need and want and will help them is to listen to them long enough to find out what they need and want and what to help them. Isn't that just common sense? I mean, common sense ain't so common. If you overtalk somebody and you doing all of this girl talked for about an hour. I was so glad when she finally shut up. I was like, man, this woman talked too much. Anybody come to sit here? It's all of us are sitting here. Don't just come into the social gathering and just come in and just take over. And all of a sudden you more important than everybody else sitting at the table. It's so pathetic. Now you dig what I'm saying? It's so pathetic. It ain't right. And you think you're going to go to the next level like that? No, you're not. You go to the next level by humbling yourself. The Bible says, humble yourself under the mighty hand of God, and he will exalt you. What? In due time, your time will come. All right. Listen, and listen your way to millions. That's what selling is. I know you ain't been taught like that. You've been taught that selling, you gotta do all that talking. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Keep doing what you're doing. Okay, keep it up. Keep it up. You're gonna be in the soup line every day talking about good, good. That's what camel soups are. Good. That's the Luther Vandross version. You're gonna be eating camel soup every day if you don't change that attitude. Selling is listening. You do all the listening, as much listening as possible. And then you make a few suggestions. And if it makes sense to the person, they do it. And then you go ahead on with the next person. All right, let me pray for you. Lord, in the name of Jesus, I pray for all my brothers and sisters today, all my kings and queens that are listening. I pray, Lord, that you would make us listening conduits. Lord, that we'll learn, that we'll discover what's going on with people so that we can be top-notch salespeople. Lord, I speak into the lives of my brothers and sisters large, mammoth amounts of money based on their listening today and taking heed today to some sound counsel and to some sound reasoning. And Lord, I rebuke the spirit of talking. I rebuke the spirit of over talking another person. Lord, I speak into the lives of my brothers and my sisters the ability to be able to constrain themselves, and the ability to be able to let the other person talk, the ability to become amazing salespeople. Lord, I speak it into their lives. Lord, we're tired, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Lord, we're tired of doing things that don't work. We're tired of being poor. We're tired of being broke. We're tired of generational curses. We're tired of this stuff, Lord, and I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. I command the spirit of humility into the lives of my brothers and my sisters so that they can really come up big time. Lord, bless them the way that you blessed me and Shantae. You blessed us from being broke. You blessed us from working in a warehouse. You blessed us from arguing with each other all the time about money. You blessed us to be in a sunshine in the middle of February. You blessed us to be going to a church picnic in February because it's so warm in Orlando. You blessed us to be able to live wherever we want to live and go wherever we want to go. And Lord, I know if you did it for us, you'd do it for anybody listening. So Lord, I'm asking you to give all of us the humility to learn how to sell, to stop acting like we know what we're doing when we don't know, to seek the help that we need. Because Lord, we know you said, if we seek and if we ask, you give it to us. And Lord, we are telling you, we are confessing to you as a group of people that we need to learn how to communicate better than what we are currently doing. And Lord, it ain't your fault. It's our fault. It's our fault. It's our fault for talking too much. It's our fault for being a wayward listener. It's our fault for being indifferent towards people and not hardly paying nobody no attention. It's our fault for being so unempathetic. It's our fault. It's not your fault, Lord. So we confess our sins to you freely today. And we say, Lord, we are our own reason why we ain't got the money we're supposed to have. We are confessing that. So I'm speaking on behalf of my brothers and my sisters. I want to thank you for delivering me from me and giving me the ability to be able to listen to people. And I pass that as a conduit through these phone waves and through these computer waves to my brothers and my sisters listening now. I pass the power that you've given me to them. And Lord, they shall be endued with this power because you said, Lord, that when we talk to each other and pray for one another, and when we bless one another, that we pass our abilities to each other. So to you, my brothers and my sisters, I pass to you the ability to be able to listen today, the ability to have empathy today, the ability to be able to hear a person out and then come up with amazing ideas and amazing programs that will answer the problems that they have, and they will pay you for it. I speak into your lives mountains of money. Money because you followed these principles. Wisdom is a principle thing. Therefore, get wisdom. But with all you're getting, get an understanding. That's my prayer for you today. Lord bless you. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about that. My last announcement before we go is that we do have a sales class coming up, and it's in 2 days. It's going to be, if you want to come, you can go to Rick the Wealth Coach and just send me a request, because it's a private class and it's for my inner circle. My inner circle members have paid me $155,000 to be in my inner circle. I'm teaching them about how to buy and sell real estate for the next 5 weeks. And for the public, if you want to come to my class, we're going to accept about 5 more people, and it's $997. You say, Brother Ricky, do you have a coupon? No. You say, Brother Ricky, do you have some discounts? No. You say, Brother Ricky, is it a way I can? No. The answer to all of that is no. You know what? I don't even like people that want a discount. I'm just going to be honest. I love you. I love you. I love you. But I don't hang out around people like that. When Myron Golden told me it was $350,000 to take his day to hang out with him, I didn't say, Myron, you got a discount? You got a way I can get around that? Excuse me. I didn't ask him those questions. All right. I didn't ask him those questions. I didn't ask Les Brown. You got a payment plan. Can I get a discount on what you're talking about? I don't try to talk people into discounts. You know why? Because when I sell my products to people, I said, you got 2 choices about my prices. You can pay the price now, or it's going up. My prices never go down. I don't have no discounts. I don't have no sales. I don't have no Black Friday sales. I don't have any of that. You know why? Because I teach people how to become multimillionaires. You know why? Because I teach people how to come up out of generational curses. You know why? Because I teach people how to stop worshiping money. I teach people how to do the opposite of what they've been doing, because that's what God taught me. God is like, Ricky, if you do the Bible, I'll make you a very rich man. I said, okay, Lord, you got a deal. So I started doing the Bible instead of just reading it and talking about it. And if I was you, I would do the Bible. And the Bible says that a false balance is an abomination unto the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. In other words, God don't like nickel slick acting folk, and he don't like cheap people, because God is rich. Are you listening to me? He's the King of Kings. That means that you're a king, I'm a king, and he's our king. He's the King of Kings, and we live like kingdom people. We don't live like paupers. We don't live like folk begging people. We don't live like people trying to be nickel slick. We don't live like people looking for discounts. That's not what we're looking for, because you're going to get what you look for, and you're gonna get what you pay for. Are you listening to me? So I don't have no cheap stuff on purpose, because I don't like being around cheap people. So if I offer you a class for $997, that's because I'm trying to help the average person. Okay, because that are not my prices. It's $155,000 to be in our inner circle, and it's worth every penny of it, because the person get back so much. They get the biggest tax refunds they ever got in their life. So ain't nobody, I don't have to persuade nobody to do that. They do it because they want to do it. So when I offer you a class and I say it's only $997, then that's a small price. There is no discount to a small price. And if you're looking for discounts, you're not looking for our class, because I'm going to teach you how to get rich in the class. And if you're not interested in being rich, it's not the class for you. I'll leave you with this. This is the last thing I'll leave you with. I want you to just think about this. I ask people, I say, do you want the best out of life? I mean, the best. They say, yeah, I want the best. I say, so let me ask you a question. How fast do you want your kids to run? They say, I want them to run like the wind. I said, okay, how strong do you want your kids to be? They say, man, I want to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I say, how healthy do you want to be? They say, I want the best health I can possibly have. I say, okay, so how much money do you want? They say, money? I say, yeah, how much money do you want? They say, I don't know. I say, you don't know? They say, no, I don't know. I mean, you're just enough to get by. I say, all you want is enough money to get by, after you told me you want to be as healthy as possible, and you want to have the tallest, fastest, strongest kids in the world. And then when I started talking about money, you start stuttering. But that's all, folks. Why? Because you don't understand the idolatric behavior that we have towards money. That's why you start sweating like a murder suspect when somebody tell you the price of something, and you start getting nervous, and you start hyperventilating and all that sort of thing. Why? Because you worship money. That's why. You say, I don't worship no money, Ricky. I say, how many hours a day do you work? I work 12 hours a day. I say, that sounds like worship to me. You doing something for 12 hours a day to make some money? That sounds like worship. And the reason you're working 12 hours is because you don't make enough money. So you got to work all those hours just to get a little bit of money. Well, if you learn how to sell, then you won't have to work all those hours just to make a little bit of money. You work a few hours to make a whole lot of money, and to make it sustainably over long periods of time. In fact, throughout posterity. That's what we teach. So if you want to learn how to do that, if you want to learn how to make enough money where you sleeping and you make money, well, when I wake up in the morning, I wake up to bank wires on a regular basis. It's just 7 days a week. Why? Because of the selling I was doing 4 years ago when I first started going live, because of the selling that I was doing last week, because of the selling I was doing here and the selling that I was doing there. What's that, Carol? He said $250,000 for. Yeah, that's good. $250,000. As long as what you're doing gonna make them more money. People pay me $155,000 because they get back big fat tax refunds while I'm training. So they can hang out with me for a whole year and get them big fat tax refunds instead of having their money in some 0%, 2% bank account, and ain't learning nothing on top of all of that. So you don't have to persuade people, like try to convince people to do something. You all just have something that people really want and they really need and they really want it, and then they'll do it for their own reasons. Are you listening to me? So that's my last announcement. If you all want to learn about what we're doing in the real estate business and how to buy and sell properties, this is my first classes I've been teaching in 3 or 4 years, because the real estate market was way too whack. I wasn't going to be teaching y'all to buy no property and all this overpriced property. It's just coming down where it's worth doing it. And when things change, that's when I started doing things. I don't do stuff that has a whole lot of competition to it, because I don't like competition. And I don't like making small amounts of money. I don't like wasting time. How about you? Do you like competition? doing things that take forever to make some money. It's slow as all get up. And when you get through, you still ain't made enough money for it to even be worth the time that you put into it. All right, listen to me. The young man that's going to be that I'm working with this week, on average, he averaged about $5,000 an hour doing real estate with me. The young man that I'm teaching this week, and I'm teach you all, how to average about $5,000 an hour. That's better than these little hourly wages and stuff like that. So if you want to learn how to average, potentially based on you, because it's based on your work ethic. But if you want to know how my students have averaged about $5,000 an hour and up, if you want to learn how to do that, then we're going to be doing that Thursday and at 6:30 p.m. And just send me a message to Rick the Wealth Coach on Instagram, and I'll send you the link if you have a desire to do that. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful day. And remember that stellar is as stellar does. Be blessed in the city and the field. Love you all. God bless you. And pray for me. I get this cold about me. God bless you all.